1. Select all tables that show a proportional relationship between x and y. You have an equation here that you can also use, y equals kx, if you need that to help you solve the proportional relationships. Or also there is the video that has the proportional relationships with tables. So if you're looking up here, you can always scroll back up and use this video here to help you. With the keyword all, remember it could be one or more different tables. So here you have your tables with the x and the y, b, x and y, c, x and y, d, x and y, and then you would select them here. This should actually be a B right here. Remember when you're solving these problems, when you're going through and you're calculating, you would end up with the same number in each column if they are proportional. Select all graphs that show a proportional relationship between x and y. Remember, this all means that it could be one or it could be more than one. Here you have graph A, graph B, graph C, graph D. If you're not sure on how to do proportional relationships with graphs, remember you can scroll back up to the top and we're looking at this one here, the identifying the constant proportionality, but this one is using a graph. Question 3. This graph shows a proportional relationship between the number of hours an apartment building is in operation and the number of gallons of water it has used. Here you have the graph, apartment building water usage. On the your y-axis, you have the number of gallons used. Your x-axis, you have the number of hours in operation. Which of the following statements about the graph are true? Select all that apply. So remember, this could be that it's one or more answers. The apartment building uses 4 gallons of water when it's in operation for 40,000 hours. Point W represents the number of gallons of water used when the apartment building is in operation for 7 hours. The apartment building uses 9,000 gallons of water when it's in operation for 9 hours. Question 4. The table shows a proportional relationship between x and y. Here you have your x column and then your y column. What is the constant of proportionality? Enter your answer below. Here we have a model example. So Ms. DeFalco's gone through and she's made this sample for us. This one, it's the same thing. The table shows the proportional relationship between x and y. So what she did to solve for each of these values here is she put in, using the formula, y equals kx, and she's trying to solve for the k on the side. And so she did 1 equals k times 5 to make it an equal, or to solve for k, you have to divide both sides by 5. This one was the same thing. So she pulled these numbers here. She did 8 equals k times 40 and divide both sides by 40 and got the same k. Then she did 13 equals k times 65 and divided both sides by 65 and also got the same answer. So we want to know, what is the constant of proportionality? The constant of proportionality was 0.2. And she made sure that she didn't just solve for one or two of them. She did make sure that she was calculating correctly by solving for each of those values. So make sure you are doing that. You're going to type in your answer in the box right here. Question 5. The graph shows a proportional relationship between x and y. Which of the following equations represents the relationship on the graph? Y equals 1/3 x. B, y equals 1/2 x. C, y equals 2x. D, y equals 3x. If you're not sure how to calculate this, remember we had that video with the graph, and then that will show you how you're going to be calculating for your slope and calculating for your constant. If you're not sure, you can go back up and watch it, but you could also be making your own table by choosing points that it intersects at, And then that's how you can be calculating for your constant. Because remember, if we are looking at this, the y equals kx, you're trying to figure out, like which of these constants make sense. Question 6. Brian reads 8 1/4 pages of a book in 1/6 an hour. At this rate, what is his total number of pages of books that he will read in 1 hour? So we have a similar problem. Steve reads 6 1/3 pages of a book in 1/4 hour. At this rate, what is the total number of pages that he will read in 1 hour? So you set up the proportion. So we knew that we had 6 1/3 pages at 1/4 an hour. And we don't know how many pages he'll read, but we want to know how much that he'll read in 1 hour. So then when she goes through and she does our cross multiplying, we have 6 1/3 times 1 equals 1/4 x. Then you have 6 1/3 equals 1/4 x because multiplying by 1 is just the same. And so then Ms. DeFalco divided both sides by 1/4. And so when you're setting this up, you end up with 6 1/3 divided by 1/4. But she notes that you need to make the 6 1/3 improper. And then you do keep, change, opposite. So you're going to keep this the same, change your operation, and then opposite for your second fraction. So you flip it upside down. And then that's when she would multiply straight across and she gets 76/3. And then when you make that into a decimal, she shows you how she made it into a decimal here, and she got 25 1/3 pages. This is the sample problem, but you're going to want to set it up on your own, and then you have your different answer choices here. Think about when you're looking at these, what would make the most sense for the problem that you have here for 1 1/6 an hour. And then that's the end of our pacing for Monday.